Oh, yeah. And welcome back to the show. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports with your host, Marcus Mack. And we are gonna get things started on another beautiful Sunday. Let's go. The Chicago Cubs were shut out at home 7-0 against the Anaheim Angels. Tyler Anderson pitched a dominant 8 innings to end the Angels' 5-game losing streak. The Cubs look to bounce back with the win in the rubber match today at 1:20. Jose Serrano of the Angels will battle Hayden Wesneski on the mound for the Cubs. The Chicago White Sox lost to the Miami Marlins 4-3 on the road. Dane Myers would give the Marlins the lead with a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 7th in this matchup of the teams with the worst records in the major leagues. The Sox look to get a victory today. First pitch will be at 12:40. Jonathan Cannon will be on the mound for the White Sox versus Edward Cabrera for the Marlins. In Chicago Bulls news, DeMar DeRozan signed with the Sacramento Kings for 3 years, $74 million, ending his tenure with the Chicago Bulls. Hats off to you, DeMar DeRozan, and thank you for all that you delivered to this city with your time here. Moving on to Chicago Sky News. After coming off a thrilling victory in 88-84 on Friday against the Seattle Storm, a game in which Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese combined for 60 points in the win, the Chicago Sky looked to extend their 2-game win streak led by All-Star Angel Reese. If Angel Reese can extend her double-double streak in this game, she will hold the WNBA record for consecutive double-doubles in a season. Game time is 5 p.m. today in Seattle. And now that has been your local news. So we're going to move on and we're going to discuss a little Chicago Bears. With training camp now coming up, we're just weeks away from training camp starting, which I believe is going to be July 24th is when they're going to be allowed to come in and report. I want to do a breakdown each week of different positions that I find the strengths for the Bears. And then last week we talked about the offensive line and defensive line. We covered the trenches. And this week I want to cover the secondary for the Bears. I think this is one of the strongest positions for the Bears, and I think that is something that's really going to propel them to have a very good season. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can, what this unit can do, as I believe that this is going to be the unit that powers a top 5 defense in the NFL. They're led by Jalen Johnson at cornerback, and then you've also got young up-and-comers in Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith. I see this unit really starting to come into its own, and it's going to make this team, I think, something special. They've also got some newcomers that they've added into the roster that we're going to see what they can provide. Players like Josh Blackwell, along with Reddy Stewart and Greg Groman Jr. at cornerback. And then we look at the safety position, and this is another position that is a high strength for the Bears, as they have Jaquan Brisker, and then they signed free agent Kevin Byard, and then they added Adrian Colbert. They also have Douglas Coleman on the team. Elijah Hicks is a carryover from last year. Quindell Johnson, Tavarius Moore, and then they added Jonathan Owens also in the offseason. That's right. You best believe there's going to be a lot of competition for playing time. Make no mistake about that. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is to seeing how this unit really, really is able to provide the Bears with something that I think is going to be very key for them, and that's turnovers, interceptions. I think that was something that really hurt them in the past, and I have found that to be very great now, as they seem to be able to, as they become a turnover machine, led by Jalen Johnson, who they re-signed this offseason, which was a great re-signing. I don't think there was ever a question they were going to re-sign Jalen Johnson. But I think really what it came down to was that the Bears needed to know. And I think that that was the most important thing that Jalen Johnson did last year was that he let the Bears finally know, hey, your investment is not going to go unnoticed. I am going to give you a good return. And I think that that was initially the issue. And I mean, people could kind of downplay it. Oh, interceptions, but he's, stopped getting stops. But, turnovers are still key. And I really think that that was the biggest difference this last season was that Jalen Johnson showed the ability to make a great break on the ball and make the big plays. He went from 0 interceptions the year before to 4 interceptions last year. And I just think that that is something that just can't go unnoticed in his career. Before that, he had only had 1 interception in his career. So just think about that. Coming back and having 4 interceptions last year in a contract year, no less, which, is always a little sketchy because you know how that goes. When people say they want to get paid, you have to start to wonder. But I'm really looking for big things from him, Jalen Johnson, in this secondary. And this is once again Marcus Mack, your host of The Truth of Chicago Sports, here on 1410 WRMN Elgin, Illinois. Call in right now if you want to talk sports with me at 847-931-1410. That's once again 847-931-1410. I'm taking live calls here in the studio. I'm interested to hear your opinions and talk with me, please. So don't hesitate and reach out anytime throughout the show. So now we're breaking down right now the secondary position for the Chicago Bears. And I'm really looking forward to, like I said, I think this is going to be something that's just a very strong position for this team, something that we really need to be excited about. We just were talking about Jalen Johnson, what he brought to the team. And now I'm looking and I'm thinking the next person that's really going to be really important in this secondary for the Bears, I'm really looking for big things from Tyreek Stevenson. I think that this kid is just really talented. He also had 4 interceptions last year in a rookie season, no less. And I just think that that's something that's got to be noted, is that this kid came out first year and made big plays right away. I think that that was huge, and it cannot go unnoticed as when you really break down and evaluate this roster. That cannot go unnoticed, the fact that he made big plays when he needed to as a rookie. And that's something that's not always easy, especially when you're out there in the secondary. You have to learn a lot of things in the secondary. You have to learn a lot of route combinations. Wide receivers are coming at you. You're playing on your back foot. So to be able to come in as a rookie and make 4 interceptions and really make himself effective right out the bat, that was something that I found was very, very huge. And I look for more big things from him. I think that if Tyreek Stevenson can give us exactly what we're looking for, I think that that's going to be a real change, because now you've got 2 potential lockdown corners on the outside. And then here's the funny part about this all. As we sit and we talk about the outside, the thing that gets me so excited about this secondary is because then you're forgetting about the guy on the inside, Kyler Gordon, who actually went through a little bit last year. He was banged up, a little dinged up, but when he found his way on the field, still able to be very effective. Had 2 interceptions, go along with 44 solo tackles, and that guy's just a grinder, man. You could just tell that that guy likes to play. He likes to bring it, and that's really what I love also about these 3 cornerbacks. They like to hit. They like to hit. They're not afraid to put their nose in it and get down. And that's something that I'm looking at that's going to be very key. Is I think that Kyler Gordon, he's proven that he is a ball hawk, as he's got 5 now interceptions total in his career, having 3 his rookie year and then 2 last year. Like I say, after being a little banged up, he only played 13 games out of a 17-game season. So I'm really hoping that we can get the full 17 from him, because I think that that kid is a playmaker. And I really think that, honestly, out of all 3 of the starting cornerbacks, because the fact that they run nickel most of the time, I think that you're looking at probably the most athletic of the corners. I think that Jalen Johnson is the most skilled in technique-wise and has the range to be able to play on that outside and be very key. But I think the most athletic of them is Kyler Gordon. And that's what allows him that ability to be able to play on the third slot wide receiver, but then also be able to cover tight ends. And that's just something that just cannot go unnoticed. In this modern league, linebackers really don't cover tight ends. It's very rare for a linebacker to be able to even stick with these now modern hybrid tight ends. So it's really key for you to have that cornerback that can play in the slot and be able to guard and be able to defend both wide receiver and tight end in that slot position. So really looking for key things from Kyler Gordon as this season gets ready to get started and the preseason kicks off once again on July 24th. At the end of the month, so get excited about that. The Bears will be featured on Hard Knocks, and I truly believe this is going to be one of the biggest featured units out there is their secondary unit. We've just been breaking down the cornerback position, and like I said, you see that you've got really three good corners, but then there's one guy that I just left out, and that is Terrell Smith, who really came in and was able to step up big time in the absence of Kyler Gordon. No interceptions in his rookie year, but he was very effective with tackling and making sure he was making key plays out on the field. So I'm really looking for him to also kind of grow on his own in his second year coming out of Minnesota. I think that Terrell Smith, if he can grow and become a high-level corner to almost in a starting level talent, I think that now you really got something special because now you got four cornerbacks that can really go after us wide receivers and get the job done. So I'm really looking for Terrell Smith to really kind of ascend to that next step because I think if he does, I think that really makes this secondary that much more lethal. Now, breaking into this safety position where I feel like this is also a great strength for the Bears, you've got them led. You got the safety position is led by Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker is just an absolute animal, and I knew that when this kid was drafted out of Penn State, and he fell to the Bears in the second round. The Bears attacked on him right away and brought him to the team. And I'm going to tell you what, wow, what a huge addition Jaquan Brisker has been to this team. In the 2 seasons that he's been here, He's not only been a guy that they can count on to make sacks, but also a guy that can count on to make fumbles, and he also has shown the ability to pick off the ball, as he has two interceptions in his career. I think that Jaquan Brisker's leadership, though, is what is the most important of all. He is clearly a leader in that locker room. He clearly is a guy that this team leans upon and looks to help push them in tight key situations. He's a sure tackler, and the guy is never in the wrong spot. It seems he just always knows where to be. I think that having a guy like that in your secondary creates a pyramid on defense where you can have 3 levels of attack from defensive line to linebacker to the secondary. And I believe that Jaquan Brisker is the head of that secondary spear. The next addition that was added this year was Kevin Byard, and I thought this was huge. Bringing him over from the Eagles, that was a great signing in free agency, and something a little bit that kind of is going unnoticed. And I'm sorry, I said yes, something that goes unnoticed. He played most of his career in Tennessee, and then last year played 1 year with the Philadelphia Eagles after being traded to them at midseason. And I just think that this guy, he's a veteran, and he's just a much better addition to the team over Eddie Jackson. I know Eddie Jackson was loved in the locker room, a leader on the team, but the truth of it was that Eddie, he just couldn't stay healthy. And it just killed us. He couldn't stay healthy no matter how much he tried. Eddie could not stay healthy, and it just absolutely destroyed what we were trying to get done. And even though he was a ball hawk and a playmaker, I think that what would happen a lot of times, because he was a leader on that defense, because the team did lean on him to make sure that they were in right setups, right formations, and doing plays the right way. When he would go down and he'd be lost, the team would struggle. And so Eddie Jackson now being replaced after they didn't re-sign him, with Kevin Byard, I think it's just a much better move. Not to mention, and I'm not one to knock on any player, but Mr. Jackson just didn't like to tackle. And I think that that's going to be a huge upgrade with Kevin Byard, because make no mistake, he likes to mix it up. And I just think that when you've got two safeties like him and Jaquan Brisker out there that's willing to really mix it up and get in there and stop the run, but also key in making sure that they're able to stop what teams are trying to do in a passing league. I just think that this is just absolutely was probably one of the sneakiest, smartest signings by the Chef Ryan Poles. That's right, the Chef Ryan Poles, because that guy has been cooking it up for this team. I also don't want it to go unnoticed of the signing of Jonathan Owens. I know that might seem like a very small thing with Jonathan Owens joining the team, as some people call him Mr. Simone Biles, as he's married to the great gymnast and legend Simone Biles. But I just feel like that when you have depth at a position, because there's going to be injury, when you have key depth, that's just something that can really help you as they learn that lesson. Like I said, with Eddie Jackson being on the team, when he would go down, now all of a sudden you had issues at safety. So I think that Elijah Hicks coming back for another year, he kind of grew into his own last year, which I was really surprised by. I wasn't expecting a lot from Elijah when he was drafted by the Bears in 2002, but he's been consistent. He played 15 games last year. He played in 17 games. He played in 15 games his rookie season, and he played in 17 games last year. Elijah Hicks finds a way to be on the field. He's key out there also on special teams, which is something I think you just have to really bring when you're a backup secondary players. You have to be very effective in special teams as well, which is something that I really feel like the Bears have grown at also, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. It is very important that you have key guys that on your bench in your secondary that can also play that role on special teams. Your special teams, I know it's like, but field position is important. And I felt like the Bears have really let that kind of got away from them last couple seasons. So it's really nice to see. I think that they started to shore that up at the end of last year. And I think that they're going to have a lot of really good players to help make that special teams unit really good and solidified more this year. So I'm really looking for big things from them. Once again, this is Marcus Mack, and I'm hosting The Truth About Chicago Sports here on 1410 WRMN in Elgin, Illinois. And we're discussing and breaking down the positions for the Bears. Last week, I broke down the offensive and defensive line positions in the trenches. This week, I'm breaking down the secondary as we talk about the cornerbacks and the safeties for the Bears. Once again, please do not hesitate to call in. I'm taking in calls here on the live show. Phone number, once again, is 847-319-1410. Call in, please. I'd love to hear from you guys. As I welcome you here to The Truth About Chicago Sports. I want you guys to also, I also want to know about your fourth. And once again, the phone number is 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. I want to hear about your fourth as well. My 4th of July was really good. It was great. Fireworks, hanging with the family. I was out in the town of Woodstock, and I got to tell you, Woodstock put on a pretty good fireworks show. I was rather impressed. It was also a great day. It was also a great time for sit back and relax, chill. Got some great sports to watch that next following day. Always love following the Chicago sports. And so, yeah, it was just a good time to just be with family and friends. Weather held up, so that was always awesome. So once again, this is The Truth About Chicago Sports with your host, Marcus Mack. Please call in or make sure to follow us also on YouTube. The live stream is going right now on YouTube and the TuneIn app. Turn into the TuneIn app. If you cannot pick up the station, turn into the TuneIn app, or also come and see on YouTube as well. We try to give you guys all access to be able to join the show anytime here at 1410 WRMN in Elgin, Illinois. I'm sitting here breaking down the secondary position for the Chicago Bears. And as I was started out the show saying This is, I believe, one of the strongest units for the Bears, and I really look for them to make big key plays for this team this year. This is something I feel like if this team can really come into their own, they're going to find a way to be something special. As we discussed, as I just broke down earlier, I broke down how I thought that the key cornerback position, Jalen Johnson, the key trio combination of Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and Tyreek Stevenson, I think can be a three-headed monster that can really stifle teams' passing attack. But then I feel like they've also got a young rising star in Terrell Smith. And so if there are injuries at any point, I believe he'll be able to step right in and make plays. He's also good on special teams as well. And then I was breaking down the safety position, which I think is the tip of the spear with Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard now. I think that this is a true strength and a major upgrade, like I discussed earlier, over Eddie Jackson at safety. Kevin Byard, I believe, will be the thump that we need and is provided to make sure that this team can continue to rise and go to be that top 5 defense that I believe that they are capable of becoming. And I'm also keeping my eye on Elijah Hicks. I think that Elijah Hicks is starting to really come into his own. I felt like in his rookie year he struggled a tad, but I really felt like last year you started to see a guy that was starting to round into a really solid player for the Bears. So I'm really hoping that if Elijah Hicks can just continue to grow and make sure that he provides that depth for us, I think that that'll be very important for the Chicago Bears moving forward with their secondary. I'm really looking for the key thing I want to see the most out of this secondary is turnovers, though. I think that even though stop, shutdown is great, pass deflections, I'm going to want that just naturally. But I believe turnovers is really what's going to drive this team. I believe that interceptions is something that this team is now capable of doing at a high clip. And I just think that if they can really get that ball rolling, we might see something special from the Chicago Bears. Remember, field position is everything. Interceptions create great field position, can also give you a chance to score on defense, which I think is going to be huge for this team as well, to put up points on defense, because we do have a rookie quarterback. And I know we've got some nice, shiny weapons for him to play with, but at the same time, he is still a rookie quarterback. And I'm not going to sit here and try to put so much on him that it's the mountain's too high to climb. I think that it'll be very smart for the Bears to lean on this defense, a very high-powered defense, and I think that this high-powered defense is powered by the secondary unit. When we get back, I'm going to have the Mac attack, where we're going to talk about the pathetic baseball scene here in Chicago. 2 baseball teams, and yet they're both bottom dwellers. So once again, when we get back, we're gonna be covered by the Mac attack, which is my favorite part of the show. We're going to break down some baseball. But as of right now, we're going to continue on with the Bears, breaking them down each week. Like I said, we're going to go by units on the team, positions on the team. And I'm going with the secondary unit today that I feel like is the very heart and strength of the Bears. I believe that if this team is going to get on a roll, that's where it's going to start. And I'm hoping that we're going to get big numbers from Jalen Johnson, who was signed to a new contract this offseason. So hopefully he doesn't get fat and happy. Once again, when we return, we'll continue breaking down position, and then we'll talk about the Mac attack. We'll also cover Chicago Sky in more depth in their matchup with the Seattle Storm coming up today at 5 p.m. This has been The Truth About Chicago Sports, and your host, Marcus Mack. Oh, yeah. And welcome back to the show. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports with your host, Marcus Mack, on WRMN, 1410 AM, Elgin, Illinois. Let's go. We left off breaking down the Chicago Bears secondary, and which I thought was a very, very big strength for this team. I think that when we left up before break, this is something that I think is really going to help power the Chicago Bears to where they can become that powerhouse defensive unit that I think can really become something key. Now, I'm not going to go start and talking the SB word, but I definitely think that this is the unit that's going to help the Chicago Bears push and become a playoff team that I know that they can be. With 7 wins last year, I think that this team combined with better offensive play and the strength of this secondary unit could definitely, without a doubt, become a 10 to 11 win team and be in the playoffs. I want to know your thoughts. If you have them out there, once again, call me at 847-931-1410 here at the station as we welcome you all and welcome your thoughts. If you're looking for a good time also if you're looking for a good time in the suburbs, please make sure to check out the Schaumburg Boomers. The Schaumburg Boomers always have a great show for you. They're going to be playing next game on July 12th versus the Windy City Thunderbolts. It's going to be a post-fireworks game night, Star Wars theme night, and a special drone show. Please come on out and see the Schaumburg Boomers. Also on July 13th, it will have as well post-game fireworks, a jersey giveaway, and it is also Peck Cancer Night. First 15,000 fans receive a Boomer replica jersey thanks to the Wintrust. Help the Boomers strike out pediatric cancer with Gold Glove Charities. Once again, the Schaumburg Boomers, always a great time. Take your family and head on out and enjoy some local baseball. And now it is time for your favorite part of the show, my favorite part of the show, the Mac Attack, brought to you by LR Cigars. If you want a premium cigar in the Chicagoland area, reach out to LR Cigar at lrcigar@gmail.com and also Facebook, LR Cigars. Once again, a premium cigar in this town. If you're looking for a premium cigar, just reach out and contact LR Cigars at lrcigars@gmail.com or LR Cigars Facebook. And now let's get going with the Mac Attack. And what I want to attack today is the pathetic baseball scene in Chicago. This has been something that has been unacceptable. We cannot continue as sports fans in this town to accept this. And this was supposed to be the year that the Cubs were supposed to be better. They signed the Milwaukee Brewers manager only for Milwaukee to be 11 games ahead of them in first place. There's no explanation for it. There's no reason other than they didn't get it right. And the biggest problem with Chicago Cubs is pitching. That's their biggest issue, pitching. And I don't understand why that wasn't thought about when it was time to fill out this roster. The relief pitching is horrible, and starting pitching is actually okay, but it's a full complement, and that's something that they did not bother to do. They did not get the full complement. And then on top of it, their reliever, Colton Brewer, is now been placed on a 60-day IL after breaking a hand punching the dugout wall. So now you've lost another pitcher that you didn't need to lose, that you couldn't afford to lose because you're struggling anyway. So I don't know where they're going to go from here, because right now this team looks clearly like sellers. And unless they put together some crazy run this month, it's done. And I think with the trade deadline looming, I think that the Cubs are going to have no choice but to be sellers. There's no way that they are going to be able to sustain what they're doing and be able to say and justify why this team is still put together currently. And that's crazy when you think about it. When the season started out, this team, the hopes for this team, the expectations, especially after they had signed Cody Bellinger, was that they would be one of the top teams or playing around near one of the top teams. And yet, this team is a major disappointment. And it just makes you wonder, what happened? What happened? And I keep asking myself, why? Why are we supporting this? What is the reason for continually going to the games, claiming that we love the teams, that we love filling these stadiums, buying concessions, giving them money in their pockets, where you're dead last? And now I move on to my team, who I grew up loving, the South Side, as they have a pathetic 26-65 record. This team is horrible. Their team leader in batting average currently is Andrew Vaughn, hitting .241. Once again, I'm going to repeat that for you. The team leader on the team in batting average is Andrew Vaughn, hitting a .241. That's how bad it is on the South Side. Their best pitcher, Garrett Crochet, gives up 3 runs a game. 3 runs a game. That's your best pitcher. That's your team leader. This team is bottomed out with no future, and they won't even get a top draft pick. They won't even get a top 10 draft pick this year. There's really no answers for this situation on the South Side. And much like, and it is very frustrating, very much for just like the situation on the North Side, because you keep asking yourself, how did we get here? How did we get to this point to where we literally are asking ourselves, why are our teams in dead last place? Once again, this is your host, Marcus Mack, on The Truth About Chicago Sports, and this is the Mack Attack, as I break down the pathetic play of the Chicago baseball sports teams, the teams known as the Cubs and the White Sox. If you have any opinions about the baseball teams, please don't hesitate. Feel free to call in at 847-913-1410. Once again, that's 847-931-1410. Please call in. Please call in. I would love to talk to you on the show and hear your thoughts of what you think about the baseball in this town currently, as I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed. I grew up on the South Side, so of course, yes, I'm a Sox fan. But make no mistake about it, I love baseball. And here's the funny part about it. My dad was an amazing, amazing baseball player. An amazing baseball player, an elite level player that probably could have went on to play college ball. And so he watched both baseball teams. He watches the Cubs and the Sox. So I grew up watching Cubs, even though I'm a South Sider. And I'm going to tell you, there's disappointment on both sides. Disappointments on both sides of town, the North Side and the South Side. And it just looks like this season is a waste. And I just wonder, how did we get here? How did we get to that point where both baseball teams are so bad and there's no way to turn it around? And I guess the thing that is I keep going back to, that keeps shocking me, is the fall from grace for the Cubs. This is a team that was in the playoffs last year. That cannot go unnoticed. This was a team in the playoffs last year. And yet they sit with the big signing, Cody Bellinger, who's only batting .270 to lead the team. Chris Morrell leads the team with only 15 home runs on the year. They struggle. They struggle mightily to close games out. And that's just shocking, because you would have thought that they would have made sure to get that right, especially when you were trying to make a push for the playoffs. You went out. You signed a high-level coach, from what we were told, a guy that was going to lead this team to a better place, to the promised land, back to where the Cubs were in 2016. Mind you, yes, both teams are now former champions. The Sox are looking at coming up on 20 years since they've won. The Cubs are now extending out to 8. We have to wonder and ask ourselves, is it going to change? When, where, and how? Because all I see is one team on the South Side that is just happy enough just to get people to come in and buy concessions out the stands, and that's it. And I see another team that lied to their fans like they wanted to compete and are now at the bottom. And you have to keep asking yourself, how did this happen? How did we get here? And I'm going to tell you, I know exactly how the Cubs got there, because they thought that they were right where they needed to be. And when other teams were making moves in the offseason, grabbing up relief pitching, the Cubs were sitting back. And that was the biggest mistake they could have made. When I was asked before the season had started, what did I think the Cubs were going to do? And the first thing I said to them was, the Cubs don't have a closer. And you know what I was told? Yes, they do. How does that feel now? I wonder to all the people out there that said that, yeah, we do, including the Chicago Cubs. Because you didn't do enough, and now you're suffering from it. And we see that. And now we have 2 pathetic baseball teams. When we were hoping, we knew we were going to have one on the South Side. That was a given as they were selling everything. It was a complete overhaul roster, a remake, and we saw that coming. We knew that was happening. So this isn't a surprise about the White Sox. We knew they were going to be in the cellar. It is still sad and pathetic, but it is what it is, and we knew this is where it was going. But my issue is with that team on the North Side, the Chicago Cubs. You were supposed to be better. You were supposed to lead the way. You were supposed to be the one winning team here in Chicago. And yet we are where we are, where we sit and see a team that is underachieving and has decided not to live up to the potential that everyone thought that they were going to have this year. It's definitely been a disappointment, to say the least. There's no way to go around that. And like I said, I'm a Chicago fan first. I may be a Sox fan, but I'm a Chicago fan first. I'll never root against a Chicago team. And so therefore, yes, there's tremendous disappointment in the Chicago Cubs and what they're doing this year. Being in the bottom is a shock and a tremendous disappointment. I know for many Chicago baseball fans, including myself, I don't know if they can turn it around at this point, as we're getting pretty long in the tooth of the season. We're in July, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. They win a couple, then they lose a couple. They win a couple, then they lose a couple. And I think their best bet might be to sell. We'll see what's going to happen as Big Jed's got some decisions to make. That's the general manager for the Cubs. He's got some big decisions to make, Jed Hoyer. But I think that he'd be very wise to sell and try to get some assets on this team, get some youth and talent in that farm league, and hope that you could turn it around quickly to where you could be back in the playoffs and not at the bottom. And that has been the Mac Attack. Mac Attack, once again, brought to you by LR Cigars. If you want a premium cigar, please go look up LR Smith at gmail.com. Contact LR Smith at gmail.com, or contact LR Smith of Cigars on Facebook. And now we're going to finish up by discussing and breaking down the Chicago Sky and how awesome they have been. And I can't, this has been the real shock of the city. I think that out of all of our sports teams, the most surprising has been this one, because here's the team that nobody expected to do anything. They were rehauling their roster. They had 2 top first-round picks, and Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. And there was no real expectation for this team. The expectation really was that they would finish out at the bottom of the league. And yet we see a team that's fighting for a playoff roster. We see a team that's fighting for a playoff spot. We see a team that has an all-star on their team, and the rookie Angel Reese, who has come in and really caught the league by storm. And, they struggled early. trying to find their identity. Cardoso was injured, and they were still getting all the pieces together as Angel Reese is starting to still come into her own in her rookie season. But then all of a sudden, Coach Spoon, who I think was a great move, and them bringing Coach Spoon to coach this team, that's Coach Teresa Weatherspoon, a former WNBA player. I thought that not only former WNBA player, former legendary NBA player, and she has brought a toughness and an identity to this team and a belief that they can. And I think that that's more important than anything, is having a belief that you can. And that will drive and push you to many great heights. And when you go and you get a person that's special, like an Angel Reese, who I truly believe is a star, fall into your lap, and you are able to know how to cultivate that and move that, that has been huge. But let's not mistake the play of Kennedy Carter, who has come really out of complete WNBA obscurity. She had some bumpy starts to her career. Place where she started out didn't work out. She had to find herself, bring herself to who she really was as a player, and was given a shot by the Chicago Sky. But they didn't put shackles on her. And they allowed her to be herself and really truly shine. And what you're finding is a very special player who I think honestly was snubbed and should be an all-star as well. She has shown the ability to be able to lead this Sky team and really make them a force in the WNBA. And I'm just going to say that that's just been a shock. So that has been a nice surprise, that although we've had some very horrible baseball play, we don't really know what's going to happen with the Bears until the season starts, as they've got a rookie quarterback. And we know that the Chicago Bulls are a complete dumpster fire. It has been an absolute joy to see the Chicago Sky as they've started to figure it out, as they're on a 2-game winning streak, and they're looking to have a big game against the Storm today, which I will definitely be watching. And Angel Reese has a chance to break the record in the WNBA for most consecutive double-doubles in a season. And I just think that that's just something that shouldn't go unnoticed. When she came into this league, with a lot of question marks. I believe when Kennedy Carter came over to the Sky, she came to the team with a lot of question marks. And the two have been able to find a rhythm between each other, where they now have this Ken and Barbie show that is just becoming something special. As we saw in the last game when they combined for 60 points. Angel Reese now is also showing the ability to stretch her game, where she took and hit her first 2 threes of her career. And if she starts doing that, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody, if Angel Reese starts to become a stretch 4, you watch out. That's going to be real problems for everybody in the WNBA, because not only does that open up the floor for Carmela Cardoso to be able to operate more on the inside, but it also makes Angel Reese that now inside-outside threat that you just are absolutely frightened of on an every game basis. And so I'm just hoping that they can continue to grow. I continue to listen to Coach Spoon, and because I'm telling you, I think she's got the recipe. And there's just something about certain coaches you get a vibe from. I've been watching, and I've been in sports for a long time. Just to give you guys a little bit of my sports history, I've been listening and following sports since basically I came out the womb. My earliest memories go all the way back to the '85 Chicago Bears. And I'm telling you right now, I know something about a coach when I see one that's special. And I see a special coach in Coach Spoon. I see a very special coach in Coach Spoon. I think that they're going to go do great things. And I think that when you see a coach like that, it reminds me of Dick. It reminds me of Phil Jackson, a coach that could really drive a team to become something great, something that you could be proud of and you could think is awesome. Hey, everybody. Got people on the outside. Welcome to the show. Once again, this is The Truth About Chicago Sports. This is your host, Marcus Mack, here on WRMN 1410 AM in Elgin, Illinois. Please come in, stop on in anytime and talk with me. I like call-ins, 847-931-1410. We can talk sports anytime. I talk baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. Anytime, call in. We love the listeners of the show. So, as I get ready for this big game today, as I'm going to have my popcorn ready, you're going to have me a nice cold beverage to go. I'm really looking forward, and I really hope that she can break the record today. Angel Reese, I think, like I said, is something special. And as a rookie coming into this league, is really taking this league by storm. And it's close. I'm telling you right now, do not think for 1 second she doesn't have a shot at Rookie of the Year. Caitlin Clark's play has been beautiful and absolutely special. I haven't been surprised by it. It's been what I expected, but it still has been special. But Angel Reese has caught this league by storm, and I am one, and I'm just so excited about it. I absolutely love the fact of what she brings to this team, what she brings to the game, and what she brings to this team, the energy, the fire. They have an identity. Oh, we've got a caller. Hold on 1 second. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports. Caller, you're on the air. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports. They didn't want to talk to me. That's too bad. But I still appreciate your calls. Once again, please feel free to call in 847-931-1410. This is your host, Marcus Mack. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports. As we sit and we enjoy another beautiful Sunday as we get ready for sports, don't forget you got some baseball. Even though we're not expecting much, we still got baseball today, and we've got that Chicago Sky game. And I know what I'm going to be watching. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, I think that this is going to be a huge, huge, huge game. Hopefully we get to see the record broke. We're all pulling for you. Everybody in the Chicagoland area is pulling for you, Angel. So here's hats off to you that you can have a great game. Coming up, I want you guys to be looking forward to Chicago Bears will be getting ready. Their preseason will be ready to get started on July 24th. So keep your eyes for that. And they're going to be on Hard Knocks. That's going to be something I'm really looking forward to. That's something that I haven't actually watched in a while, honestly. I really kind of got away from Hard Knocks. But, man, to see the Chicago Bears on there, boy, I'm telling you, that's something special. So I definitely got my eye out for that as we're looking forward to that season get started. So yeah, I hope everybody had a great 4th. I hope it was a safe 4th and you enjoyed awesome fireworks. It's been a great weekend. Sit back, please make sure you watch some sports and enjoy yourselves. I know I am. I absolutely love when we can have a great time and spend with friends and family, eat some good food, and enjoy. And what do you love to enjoy best? And that's watching good sports here in the Chicagoland area. So once again, this is your host, Marcus Mack, with The Truth About Chicago Sports on 1410 WRMN in Elgin, Illinois. We're getting ready to close out the show, but please feel free next week. Don't hesitate. Call me. Please, I take all calls, 847-931-1410. Please don't hesitate to call into the show. I love to hear your thoughts. And if you weren't able to call in today, please call into the station. Let them know what you'd like to hear me talk about on Sunday. Please don't hesitate to ever call into the station. We love you guys. Truth About Chicago Sports, you're on the air. I was hoping that we could get the first call of the show, but they did not want to talk to Marcus Mack. Oh, well. Well, this has been a great show once again. I thank everyone for joining. This has been The Truth About Chicago Sports. Please come back and join me next week from 12 to 1, as I love hear from you guys, and I love bringing you sports. Once again, have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the show.